good evening, and welcome to Conversations with Entrepreneurs. I'm your host, Alethea Brown, and I am joined tonight with my co-host. And start with you, Julie.
Hello, everyone. Julie Logan, founder and CEO, owner operator, Popcorn Heaven, Steel Creek. Glad to be here.
And Jeff.
Hey, it's Jeff White with Yes We Did Virtual Learning Center, and I'm happy to see you guys.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good, doing good.
I want the year to slow down. It's going too fast.
Yeah.
Isn't it though? It's
We're
crazy.
at the half a year mark. Like, wow. So tonight we're going to talk about, since we're heading into the states starting to open up and everyone is changing their pandemic policies, we're going to talk about the adjustments that businesses need to make to get ready for that. To either just open their doors again, to expand what they're doing in their doors, or even just bring in employees back into the office that have been working remotely. So Jeff, we'll let you start this out.
All right. This past year and a half is a textbook reason why, when it comes to your business plan, you want to make it fluid. You can't have set plans set in stone and think that you're only going to just follow that plan, because unfortunately plans change, and if you aren't able to go with the changes, your business is going to fall behind. And we saw that in many instances over the last year, because people just couldn't adjust their business model to adapt to the times. We saw it with restaurants, we saw it with all types of businesses. So now we have to adjust again, because now things are opening back up and people are going to adjust some of their habits, because they're excited to get out. So it's important that we think ahead. And a lot of us, well, all of us, we should have been thinking about this very moment, 3 to 6 months ago, and how to prepare for when things get quote unquote back to normal. So for me personally, one of my favorite words is pivot. I've had to pivot again because I did so much online when things were on lockdown. Now I'm getting back out into the public where I'm talking to more people. Well, I'm starting to, I haven't really done it yet, but I'm going to start talking to more people, doing more face-to-face events and meeting people, because the trend right now is people are tired of being in the house and they want to get out and be around other people. And when they get around those people, they're gonna spend money. And so and to be honest, if you're an entrepreneur, you want to make sure you can capitalize on that, the changes that people are going through. So right now, we should just start thinking, okay, how can I adjust my business to capitalize on people wanting to get out more? What can I do? What can I do to attract these people to me so they'll want to do business with me as they get out more? And for me, that means doing a lot more vendor type shows, any place where I can get face to face and talk to people, as far as, either selling books or maybe even speaking engagements. Because I've seen people, like I follow a lot of people on YouTube, and they're talking about how they're excited to go to conferences and things again where they'll be around other people. So as an entrepreneur, you have to say, okay, people are excited and they want to get out. How can I get those people when they go out to come to me? Or do I go to them wherever they're going to go? Can I find a way where I can meet them there with my products and my services so I can capitalize on the changes? Now, with that said, we also have to look at what was going on before the pandemic. And from what I saw, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I can see, a lot of people were shifting to online. And I'll give you an example. Right now, you can look at, for example, AMC, the movie theaters. A lot of people, even before the pandemic, they were not going to the theaters as much. People are doing it streaming online and things of that nature, really, staying home, and they were worried about the movie theaters. Now, people are excited to get out. You got blockbuster movies coming out, and guess what? People are going to be going to the theaters again. And I'm gonna plug Julie. I'm a popcorn heaven. I love movie theater popcorn. I love movie theater popcorn. So the mere thought of me being able to go back to the movies and see, Black Widow, the new Marvel movie, is exciting to me. And I want to go do that. Now, with that said, I think that there's going to be an initial excitement of people going out and being in public, but then it's going to lull, it's going to wane, and people are going to go right back to what they were doing before the pandemic, which means they were doing a lot more things online. So as an entrepreneur, I think we have to keep all that in perspective and understand what we can do to capitalize on all aspects of the trend of people want to be excited to get out. And then it could be 6 months or so, and they're like, okay, I've been out, now I remember why I didn't want to go out as much before. I'm going to start doing things back home again. So we got to learn how to pivot and adjust with the rising tide. So for me, it's about getting out more, but at the same time, still working and building my online presence as well, because I think the shift is going to just, come right back full circle. People will still go out, but I think you cannot neglect what you built during the pandemic, especially if you did a lot of online business as well.
Yeah, I agree, Jeff. And the one thing that stood out to me what you were saying is going back to their business plan. The one thing that I've noticed even with the templates that you get for your business plan, the one thing that's missing is the business continuity plan.
Excellent point. Yeah.
The business continuity plan. I remember that in project management, that was like one of the things we always had to do. What if a storm hits? What if there's a snowstorm? What if there's an earthquake? What is it this, that, what is there a fire? Then that's your business continuity plan. How are you going to handle it? And I bet you now, even some of the major corporations didn't have pandemic as a chapter. So even if the major corporations didn't do it, it's a given some of the small businesses to do it. But like you were saying, the way people were pivoting, because I done fell in love with my apps and watching my movies, and I could do AMC, at home for $19.99. Don't have to do with all the rush and stuff. So I agree, people are going to kind of pivot back after they get over just that freedom again. Julie, your thoughts?
I really think that the online presence I don't think it's going to go anywhere, to be honest with you, because from what I hear from some of my former colleagues in corporate America, that during this pandemic, unfortunately, everybody having to be home, but they've found that they've had a lot more effective meetings. A lot of things were being done quicker. Because you're able to get on a Zoom call or a phone call really quickly and collaborate with folks really easily. But I think to Jeff's point, folks are going to want to get out of the house for a little bit, but I think we're going to go back to, I don't think it's going to be normal anymore. I think it's pretty much stay the same as it is, but giving folks the option. Some folks are not going to want to go back into the office. They are enjoying their time. They are enjoying that space with family, right? Because it gave them this time to be with family, even though it was, on the heels of the pandemic. Jeff, you said something about, how to attract, businesses or corporations to my business. Well, luckily for me, my company Popcorn Heaven was created and birthed on the heels of the pandemic, in the midst of pandemic, while it was still going, and now coming out of the pandemic. So for me, it's been kind of an interesting dynamic, if you will. I've had to really do more marketing, do more advertising to get folks attracted to coming into the popcorn. When we first opened, it was just like people everywhere. It's kind of slowed down just a little bit, but it's given me now the time to your point, look for vendor shows, to get out to market myself with the hotels, with the community apartment complexes that, around and surrounding areas, to let them know that we're here, right? So I like what you said when you got to pivot and you got the ups and downs, the roller coaster rides, and that's what it's going to be, I believe, for just a little while longer.
Yeah. And the other side to this is with all the existing companies and businesses that were out there, people are now seeing what else can now be a business. And then they're pivoting to those options as well, because they're finding out, hey, wait a minute, I can actually do this. I can do this. This is something I love to do. I can run this type of business. And so people are also pivoting in that respect.
And I think to your point too, Alethea, this pandemic being at home, really allowing people the time to really think about their next, is opening up the doors for more entrepreneurship. I'm seeing more and more people retiring from their companies and stepping into entrepreneurship because of this pandemic. If it wasn't a pandemic, they probably wouldn't be thinking about it right now. I just saw a girlfriend of mine on a colleague of mine that on Facebook, she just retired from corporate America, right? And she's probably been there about as long as I have, but I'm wondering if she would have done that in the midst of the pandemic.
Because I know we had a list one time of all it's like 30 different types of businesses now. You shared that with us. It's like 30 something businesses now that people are pivoting to, that they see they can, become a entrepreneur based on those. It's like a list of them, of different things that people just never thought of. There were.
Now, one thing I will say, even though the safety precautions have been lifted from the pandemic, the requirements of wearing the mask, if you've been vaccinated, you don't have to wear your mask around those who have been vaccinated. Well, how do you know that? Well, anyway, in my business, I still have my required mask sign on until I get comfortable. And that's what I can do as an entrepreneur until I get comfortable. Now, I've softened it to the point where they see the sign, they come in with their mask, great. If they don't come in with the mask, I'm not gonna trip so much. But that's an adjustment that I'm having to kind of flow with, if you will, or see how long I'm gonna let it stay until I get comfortable.
Yeah. And I think people talk about those are the ones that know that they're going to have to go back in the office at some point too. That's going to be a different thing. That whole to mask or not to mask, or I don't have to mask because they said I don't have to mask, or I don't have to show you proof that I'm vaccinated type thing. And so there are a lot of different things. One for business owners like you, and then people going back to work, or people who just started their business. Like, how do they tread lightly? Is that process?
And that's a good question, Alethea, especially those who are going back into the office. Are they going to make them wear masks when they go into the office, or are they going to make them show that card that they've been vaccinated in order to freely? I'd love to know that.
That's
what I think you just if you vaccinated, you don't have to wear the mask. I think it's going to change from business to business. But me personally, I don't see a problem with people still wearing the mask. And another thing you got to think about too is they're talking about maybe needing a booster shot, but they don't know exactly when. So at one point, is the vaccine going to wear off? If it wears off, and then how do we know that we won't have another situation where we have to go into another similar type of lockdown, even a partial lockdown? So as an entrepreneur, you have to think about these things and think there's a possibility that this could happen again. And if it does, I want to be prepared so my business can keep moving seamlessly. That's that continuity, plan that you're talking about, Alethea, which is true. So we got to look at all these different variables. But Julie, you said something really important, and I talked about this on my own YouTube channel a couple of weeks ago. A lot of people aren't going back to work. They're not going back to the office. They realize that, hey, I didn't like this job after all. I only did it because I had to. But then when I couldn't work for 6 months to a year, I had to find something else to do, and I like that better, And so even as an entrepreneur, how can we capitalize on that market, on that market of people who are doing their own thing now? So many different variables and avenues we can look at as entrepreneurs and see what we can capitalize on. Is there a whole nother segment out there of customers that you can tap into as an entrepreneur? Because if they're not going into the office or they change careers, Is there a way you can look at those people and figure out how you can tap into that segment of the market of consumers? So you just got to brainstorm and just, again, stay fluid and see what you can do just to tap into all these different opportunities that are out there.
Yeah, I agree, Joe. I definitely agree. I think the other thing too with the mask and the to mask or not to mask is that we have to remember that the vaccination doesn't stop us from getting COVID. It is intended to stop us from getting the worst symptoms of it. And so for me, I'm gonna wear that mask. I'm gonna wear that mask because I'm not wanting to put myself in a position where it's gonna take me away from everything that I've been working on, everything that I build up. So I think the consciousness is within each person. You know what you need to do, you're going to take the precautions necessary to keep going. And I think that's important too. But
I think so. Outside of the entrepreneur, Jeff, you made me think about something that this pandemic has actually brought families together. So I'm wondering, when people start to shift and transition back into the office, what is that going to look like now? It's interesting to me because I've seen in the popcorn business scene, I've seen so many families come through, the popcorn shop. And now that people are going back, I'm wondering how now that's going to affect the family and personal life.
Yeah, and that's a good question too, because there's going to be a mental health from it. So you have the people that were isolated because of the pandemic, but then that mental health, you got this bond that the families have created. They've created these new family practices and different things. And what's going to happen when it fall off, and not for nothing, you got to include the pets. Our Chihuahua has had unlimited access to me and my daughter for over a year now, and I don't think she's going to be happy.
Then they're going to tear up your house the moment y'all both leave.
Yeah, she's not going to be. She didn't like it when we was on vacation. She literally fussed us out in the car when we picked her up. So the kids are going to be feeling some kind of way. And then you're going to find a difference too. So the kids that may have enjoyed virtual learning as opposed to the kids that were dying to get back into the school to see their friends. So it's going to be interesting to see how everyone kind of pivots for their jobs and for their family, and for their communities too, because a lot of that has been missing. Those community events that they do, it's going to be nice to see how they coordinate that to come back as well.
So now the question is, as an entrepreneur, how can, see, that's something I didn't even think about. But as an entrepreneur, how can you tap into the bonding that people had and that they don't have, they may want to rekindle? Mm-hmm. How can you generate some type of family event? Like for you can coordinate some type of event, where the families come in and you get, a group of, a set of popcorn or different sizes for the family. It's different things that you can do, but as an entrepreneur, how can you capitalize on that? Because people may want to do things with their family again, maybe even just on the weekends because they were so much together, they got used to it and they kind of want to make sure they keep that bond. How can you tap into that as entrepreneurs? I mean, so many different ways you can look at it and try to, capitalize on it. So like you said, like both of you guys pretty much said, things aren't going to go back to normal, but it's going to go back to an extent back to normal for a little while at least. But then what can you do to capitalize on the excitement that we're seeing right now?
Yeah, Jill,
I would imagine
those big old giant screens and put it in the park and have like a theater in the park and you're the only popcorn person. I'll come with that. We'll buy tickets.
Well, it's funny you say that because I don't know, maybe I mentioned it. I don't know. It's kind of like deja vu, but I did mention it to the landlord of the shopping center that I'm in, having a movie night in the parking lot, and I'd be the popcorn provider. I don't know. So it's something definitely to capitalize on. But what I was going to say is, I would imagine that some corporations probably have seen a significant cost savings during the pandemic. For example, all of these empty buildings They've been popping up these new buildings everywhere, but people have not been able to get inside of them. I'm sure during that time, those cost savings, so those expenses for power and all of this other kind of stuff for some corporations probably have been reduced a little bit. So I'm just curious about it all, how it's all going to work out. So I'm staying real close to my corporate friends to see how it's all working out.
Yeah, I have read with some of the tech companies, they have made that option. They felt that their people were more productive at home. And so and that, I think that's mostly impacting California, that they're choosing to downsize and get out of their leases. And then they're going to keep a property in a different state. So you'll find companies are going to start transitioning out of the, more heavily populated areas, because they're, look, if you can work for me from New York now because you're working from home.
Exactly.
There are some tech companies that decide to take that path. So that's definitely going to be interesting to see how all that plays out between now and the end of the year.
Yeah.
I also think something we all have to remember is we, as entrepreneurs, we all work really hard, and a lot of us aren't getting the rest and everything we need. So, but this should be a wake-up call also that we, Julie raise our hand, we have to remember that our health is still our number one priority.
Yeah.
We must do everything we can to maintain our health, and we cannot rely on the vaccine. Even if you get it, you cannot rely on it because it's still a fluid situation. So and you, like you guys just said, it doesn't prevent you from getting it, may just lower the effects of it, or the symptoms or whatever, which is great. But at the same time, make sure you do something else to allow you to continue to work at the pace that you're working. And that's to maintain, your health and eating right all throughout all this too, because as we all know, time is money, and you want to make sure you're doing everything you can to be able to continue working, on your business throughout this time.
Now, I heard just over this weekend that the vaccine, when you get it, is only good for 6 months.
I heard 6 to 12, but I don't know. No one knows for sure yet. So, you got to keep that in mind. It's still a fluid situation. So how do you know that you lose track of time and in 6 months, your vaccine, has worn off, and now you outside everywhere hugging up on people, all in people's face, no mask, and you don't realize that it's worn off. That's the key, because now people are going to get lax. So we have to remember, we got to make sure we take care of our health, irregardless of if you get the vaccine or not.
Yeah, that was the reason why I said that, to your point about the health piece of it. Got to make sure that immune system is built up to where it needs to be able to fight off those things, because you don't know how long this thing is supposed to last. So.
Yeah.
Stay healthy, folks.
So look, I'll ask Jeff. Jeff got a whole list of things he can do. He is a health and fitness expert up here. So
Something y'all don't like, but we won't even talk about that.
But he's gonna talk about that black seed oil thing.
We won't even talk about it.
The black seed oil, Julie.
Don't do it. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't do it, man.
Another thing I noticed during this pandemic, a lot of people were, they couldn't work or whatever. And as entrepreneurs, and I've said it a million times before, now's the time to really start thinking about how you can generate that passive income. You got to start thinking how you can do it, because again, we could get sick, our business could get shut down or something. So we got to find a way to keep that income coming in. So many different aspects you got to look at, as an entrepreneur and just as people, because we don't know anything could happen in the next 6 to 12 months. It could disrupt your business. It could disrupt the entire world again. How do you prepare? What can you do in case something happens again? I think passive income is one of the most important things that, first off, all of us need to do, but as an entrepreneur, you need to really work on that too. So, it's just so much to think about, but we have to. We don't have a choice anymore.
Yeah.
Jeff, can you share like high level again, some passive vehicles, passive income vehicles that people can look into? Like high level?
What do you mean by high level?
Just give them a few bullet points, things to think about from a passive income perspective.
Okay. Yeah. One you can do is, well, both of you guys are very intelligent. You could set up an online course. You could create a course where you can talk about something like, Julie, you are big in consulting. You can talk about the business of consulting, something like that. You can even talk about, owning a franchise, how to get into starting a franchise, or you could have a course on that. Aletha, you could start a course on, the movie industry and how to make movies, something like that. Online courses is a good one. Writing an ebook is a good one.
I was gonna say that, ebooks.
Ebook, creating what's called a drop shipping website. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but with a drop shipping website, you basically, you create a website and you sell products on that website, but you don't have the inventory, on the person. So basically a person can set up a website selling sunglasses. I say sunglasses and purses. Julie, you go on that website and you think you're buying from, an actual well-established company. You're just buying from someone like me, who then I place the order from the manufacturer, and then they send the product out to you. But you don't realize you're getting a product from another, a warehouse, and they send it out. You think it's coming from me.
Right.
That's a drop shipping company. Setting up a website, and you can be an Amazon affiliate where you have a link for Amazon, and if people buy products off of Amazon using your link, you get a commission off of that.
Yeah.
And that is a really lucrative way to make money. You can set up a blog or a website. A lot of internet-based type industries that do that. And one thing a lot of people are doing where because they're not going back to work, is they are using social media. And when I say social media, I'm talking like YouTube, I'm talking TikTok, Instagram, things of that nature, where they're getting followers and they're getting paid, just from having those followers. And so it's many different things you can do. One of my other favorites is vending machines. That's a very one. You can set up vending machines and put them all over, and people they buy out the vending machine, basically. So it's a lot of different things you can do. Then of course there's rental property. Rental property is another good one. People always need a place to live, a place to stay. So, that's just a couple right there.
Yeah, Jeff, and the other one too that I know we spoke to before is a lot of people are finding that a different level of passive income. So say you have an entrepreneur like myself and Julie, we need administrative support, where there are platforms now where if you want to leave corporate America and you have strong administrative skill sets, that now can be your entrepreneurial passive income. You go to these different sites that they have and you make yourself available to companies that are looking for administrative support, but they just can't hire someone to be in the building. And so you get to work remotely and you get to do the things that you know how to do, been doing for years. And so other people are finding that as not only as a way to have their own business, or like you're saying, that passive income, having that additional money coming in that they can work at their leisure, at their time when they want to. So those are resources too. And I think you shared.
It's like their virtual assistant.
Exactly.
Yep, exactly.
So like for me personally, my passive income streams are my books. I've written 11 books. And for authors out there, the more books you have, the better. Because quite frankly, your first book may not sell, your second book may not sell, your fifth book may not sell, but one of those books is going to hit. And if you are an avid reader and you find an author you like, what you'll do is you'll pick up that one book and then you say, oh, wait, they got other books. Then you go back and read those other books. So that's just another way to generate passive income. Then I have the online courses, so I do that. But that is a really great way to generate that income too. So I don't like people who tell you about things and they never done it themselves. That's a red flag for me. So I just wanted to point out that, I am definitely doing it, and it is very possible for you to do that. And I have a blog where I I talk about different things on my blog, and then I have, I post links to various products, and it's the same with the affiliate marketing for me with that as well. So I'm just saying it's very possible out there where people just have to stay open-minded, be willing to think outside the box, which is very important now, because if someone would have told you 5 years ago that in a couple of years, the whole world would be on lockdown, you couldn't leave your house, and you get arrested or fined for leaving your house, you think we were crazy. Well, we saw that. So now all bets are off. So now what we have to think of the unexpected. And that definitely means thinking about passive income. So if we have another disruption, you are able to take care of yourself and prepare. And that also means use the internet to your advantage. Find ways to make money using the internet for your business, for your personal self. But it's crucial that we do that, because we don't know what to expect in the future. But with that online, businesses and learning how to make passive income through the internet, there's nothing you can't accomplish.
True, I agree.
I have an idea for passive income for me.
Here we go.
Since I have two authors on this call,
Here we go, Lethea.
I want
Here we go.
I want to brainstorm with the two of you and write a book on how to write a book.
Yeah.
See, that's not bad. That's not bad, because I don't know if I do a lot of editing for people, and they don't know where to begin. So actually, that is a good idea.
Yeah, it is. And
I apologize in advance.
it speaks volumes because
Yeah.
my second book, I started doing the blog when they were letting you do blogs on Facebook. And then I took that blog and then I turned it into a book. So yeah, there's different ways that you can go about doing it.
Any how-to thing is a way. People want to learn how to do stuff. How to write a book, how to
publish it, how to get it published, and where to go for all of that kind of stuff, right?
Any how-to. If you know how to do something, you can make a how-to video, a blog, or whatever, even a how-to book. And that is a great way to generate passive income. I didn't know how to change the light on my truck, sad to say. I had to go to YouTube and type in how to change the light on a Navigator, so how-tos. That is another way to generate passive income, because we all have an ability to do something.
Yeah.
And for those who are listening, that's my idea, so don't take it, because I'm getting ready to write that book on how to write a book.
There's so many different things. You just open up the door for yourself. Teach you like how to be a virtual assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are all those little different things, that nuances, the experiences that we have. But we got a whole list right now of how to. If Dion and Chanel was here tonight, there'd be a whole bunch of different how-tos.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
There'll be so
That's
much. Yeah.
That's great.
We're going to have to do something with the how-tos. We're going to have to how-to a show. We're going to have to do a how-to show. Take it a little
Absolutely.
deeper.
Let's do it after I write my book, though.
Oh, okay. How-tos.
How to stay on track for a whole show without cracking jokes. That would be a real good
Oh, yeah. And I don't think I don't think we're going to do good with that. We get graded.
No, that would be.
Jeff be sitting
So
there.
it makes the show a success of cutting up and making it real for people, right? Because it's what people like, right? They like to see real.
I tell you, we real, we representing.
We all of that.
all of that.
All of that.
We'll start out with last words. Julie, we want you to start out with last words tonight.
I would say pandemic or no pandemic, follow your dreams. If there is a passion or a desire that is burning within you, do not let anything or anyone stop you. Someone asked me the question, who starts a business in the midst of a pandemic? I operated on as if, nothing had happened, because it was something that I wanted to do. And so when you follow your passion and you follow that desire, trust me, it will work out in the end.
I agree, Jeff.
I'm going to agree with Julie. Even during the pandemic, because in times of chaos, there's opportunity, but you have to have the right mindset to see the opportunity. So many people, they may focus on the negative and they only see one way, but there are other ways to look at things that you can make great opportunities for yourself. It's just like with the stock market. A lot of people think if the stock market goes down, then you're going to lose everything. But if you know how to understand opportunity, you can make up more money when it goes down than it goes up. So no matter what the situation is around you, you have the ability to make some amazing things happen, especially as an entrepreneur, because there's always going to be a demand for something, no matter what's going on in the world. And if you are a forward thinker and you can plan and strategize, you can find it. Like we just found some stuff tonight, and it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter what's going on in the economy. Doesn't matter who's in the White House. None of that matters. What matters is what you have up here and how you can bring it out and have your clients or your customers, get to you and get your product. And you can be very successful at any time. You just got to think about it. You can do it.
I agree with both you and Julie. If you know you have that dream in your heart, then you pursue it. Pandemic or no pandemic. We've had people on this show that were proof of it. We had a gentleman that talked about his food truck in the middle of a pandemic. Just like Julie, he started his business in the middle of a pandemic. We had another gentleman, he started a nonprofit and to help people become business people. And he's celebrating that now. It's been very successful. We had the cupcake lady, we had the cupcake lady, we even had someone else too that started a business, brick and mortar, and, couldn't do the activities and the events that the facility was for, but she still thrived. She still thrived in the midst of a pandemic. So don't let anyone tell you that you can't do. If you have it in your heart, you will do. And you will find ways that you succeed, not only because you can, because you must. And that's where your desire lies.
Well said.
Yeah.
We will definitely have that next show of the how-tos
Yes.
coming back. So everyone tune in again for our next edition of Conversations with Entrepreneurs.